Hello, I am a minute late. Whoops. So, I have so much to share today. I don't want to burn anything. Just took the cookies out that I'm testing, and I have some chocolate glazed nuts in the oven that we won't let burn. If they don't come out by the time we finish here, I'll post it. But the cookies are promising. So, a couple things. First, we're talking about snack foods. Friday is my day to have healthy, quick grab and go snacks for the weekend. This weekend, we happen to be going to a golf trip, and it's gonna rain all weekend. So snacks are gonna be really important. So, you know, I preach whole food eating, all about the gut. This week, we've been talking a lot about the gut over in my group. I've been posting a relatively in-depth gut lesson every week. It is not too late. If you want to join, you don't need to join the whole gut challenge, but everything is there. It's archived. You can look at it. There are a ton of educational documents in the file section. And it's just pretty cool. So it is all about a lifestyle, not a quick fix. So I'm always looking for snacks, recreating them. When the grandkids come over, they've got to have something fun to eat, right? And something healthy. So today I will post this recipe. I make quite a mess. And my macros, you know, I always change a recipe to meet my macros. And the recipe today, we have a basic chocolate chip cookie. When I made the recipe and put it in Chronometer, it is higher protein, lower carbs, highest fat, of course. So it is well within my macros. The macros I prefer at 35 protein, 35 fat, 30 carbs. But that's for 12 cookies. I am maybe one of those weirdos that sometimes I just want a bite. I don't want a whole cookie. And you can kind of justify maybe it's okay eating 3 cookies throughout the day because, you know, you just take one, pop it in your mouth, and you don't need to eat the whole cookie. So this recipe, the macros, when I post it, the macros are for 12 cookies. And how I changed it, I've boosted up the protein in a couple of ways. And right now I'm going to get at least 36 or 48 cookies. Because this is the first tray. I have at least another full tray, and this is 20 cookies. So I'm probably going to get about, 4 dozen. So even better, because you can have multiple quick snacks. What's in the oven is chocolate glazed nuts. So first we'll talk about this recipe. It is almond flour. The original recipe calls for maple syrup, but when you're talking gut health and metabolic health, we don't want any glycemic spikes. And I will be honest, until I started using allulose as my sweetener, I was a maple syrup person because the stevia and the monk fruit, to me, just had a funky, off-putting taste. It did not, you could tell it was fake. The allulose, I don't get any of that. So that's a win-win for me. And I'd rather take a no glycemic spike and easier on my gut than, hi Ines, easier on my gut than sugar and the insulin spike, or the blood sugar spike. So we've got almond flour, allulose, coconut oil, baking powder. You know, of course, although I did use I used regular chocolate chips in this. A little bit of sugar, I'm okay with. But typically I would use my favorite Spring and Mulberry chocolate bars that I chop up. I just didn't have time to chop them up today. My Friday, I push it, and I had to get my workout in and had to get all this stuff prepped. And of course, greedy me wanted to do 2 recipes today. So I also added, now I added in these a duck egg because, you know, if you're a baker, you kind of know the feel of things. And in my opinion, when they post all these healthy recipes without an egg, you don't really get a rise. You don't get the same texture of a cookie. Almond flour, you don't get the same texture as a regular flour cookie anyway. So I try to do my best to make the texture and make it as close to what we're used to as possible. And I need an egg in most baked goods. I am a fan of duck eggs. If you know, we live in the country, since my chickens are gone, we get our eggs from a neighbor and they have duck eggs. So a duck egg is richer, the yolk is richer. I talked about this before, but it's a little bit bigger than a chicken egg. Because of that, the yolk's bigger, has more protein, has more fat, all the good stuff. The taste, oh my gosh, it tastes just like a regular egg, but the yolk is silky and creamy. It is delicious. So now, let's see. Oh, I can live with these. That egg definitely makes a difference. The whole texture is different. And when I started mixing these without the egg, it was just the coconut oil. It was not. It looked like it was going to be the driest, most crumbly cookie. And I have made almond flour cookies before without an egg, and they are very crumbly. So this is a winner. So I will finish doing my additions in the recipe and post it. So later on, check back. And guys, if you could see my kitchen, it's a disaster. Okay, I hope the nuts turn out this good. So I want to talk a little bit about coconut oil. Oh wait, let me go back to the cookies. So, you know I'm a person of good, better, best. This used to be Quest protein powder. Used to be one of my favorites because I've wasted so much money on protein powders that taste like garbage and all that. But this is not a good one. Too many, there's carrageenan, there's too many things in here that are not good. However, I have not yet ordered my Neora protein powder. Nancy, I probably can't get into my account again. Anyway, you've heard my saga of trying to find a protein powder that works well in baking. Well, my beef protein powder turns into liquid. So it would have totally thrown off my cookies here. And, oh, that's a good idea, Ines. Oh, that's such a good idea. I don't know if I have cassava flour. But I'll have to put that into the macro calculator and see what that does to the macros. That's a really good idea. So anyway, Quest, this protein powder, because of the bad things it has in it, the texture is better. So I get better texture. So good, sure, it's good. Did I throw it away? No. This is my last container. Will I buy it again? No, I won't, because I know I have a better replacement. I don't like to waste things unless they're really, really horrible. So this goes under the category of good, better, best, not, good. But because of the protein content, 24 grams of protein in 1 scoop of this, I added it to the cookie dough and I boosted, so in a 12 cookie recipe, I just put 2 extra grams of protein in each cookie. So it definitely is a good addition. A better protein powder is the one I researched, I think my last week or the week before, the Neora protein powder. It's a vegetable, it's I think a lot of pea protein. It's not all whey protein, so it is much more gentle on the gut, and there is nothing bad in the label. That ranks up in the best category as far as I'm concerned. But these are a win. Now, coconut oil. You hear about all the health benefits of coconut oil, But why? Does anybody know why? I'm going to tell you a few things coconut oil does and what it's good for. First of all, coconut is a medium chain triglyceride fatty acid. So medium chain triglycerides have a whole slew of health benefits, including antimicrobial. So they're very good for the gut, and they, wait a minute. They're very good for the gut, and they have other properties. And you can't find medium chain triglycerides many places. So coconut oil for the win. It helps combat Candida, any yeast growth, H. pylori. H. pylori is awful. It is a resistant stinker. It's difficult to get rid of. And it's horrible. It wreaks havoc on your gut health. The conundrum, I guess, if you have H. pylori, you're going to have a lot of belching, a lot of indigestion. You will be put on a PPI like omeprazole. And yes, horrible. You'll be put on a PPI that suppresses the acid that your gut secretes, which does nothing more than proliferate the growth of H. pylori. So you're caught in a vicious circle. More growth, more belching, more pill taking. And I got a lot to say about that because I've gotten people off of a benzodiazepine, which is like Valium or Xanax. I've gotten them off of those medications easier than I've gotten some people off of omeprazole. Horrible. Okay. Sometimes necessary though. Remember, this is all educational. I'm speaking from experience. Talk to your healthcare provider before you do anything or take yourself off of any medication. I don't recommend that. Highly advise against it. So, very mildly, coconut oil will boost your metabolism because MCTs, the medium chain triglycerides, are quickly converted into energy, which help increase thermogenesis, which is your internal fat burning fire. So we need that fire. It's really good as far as like metabolic protocols and things like that. The ketones in the coconut oil also are quickly absorbed by your brain, your nervous system. Amazing for cognitive health. So gut health, metabolism, it balances your blood sugar. Coconut oil can slow down your glucose absorption. So think about it. It helps decrease that spike, the high and low of the blood sugar. Nourishes your skin, fights inflammation going back to number one, supporting gut health. There are good fires and bad fires in our body. The good fire is your internal fat burning mechanism, right? That coconut oil is good for. And we like that fire. We want that fire. The bad part of that is, the bad fire is the fire that I talk about under your gut, under the inflammatory cauldron. We want to calm that, and coconut oil does that. Nourishes your skin. Obviously, we need smooth, supple skin, and healthy fats and oils help us do that. Lastly, it is a hormone helper. Healthy fats, all healthy fats, not just coconut oil, but grass-fed butter, they help support hormone production, especially in women who are stressed. And if you're restricting carbs, your body needs something to help support the blood sugar balance. Ketones are an amazing fuel source instead of a much better fuel source rather than carbs. So now I got to stir my nuts. I'm not sure about these nuts, guys. We'll see. They look good. They're going to take a little while. So I will have to report back about the nuts. I think I'm at 16 minutes. I want to keep these short and sweet. I'm also here. We're going to do a little true confessions. Hopefully you didn't see my shorts because I do not match at all. Took off my workout shirt, threw on a better, something, not a t-shirt, and started baking. So I highly suggest you make these cookies. We need to have healthy snacks, so we are not running to the Chips Ahoy or to the bakery or to anything. You need something to satisfy the craving, because this needs to be a sustainable way of life. You are not sacrificing anything if you are prepared and make good changes. So let me touch on the nuts briefly, because I wanted to say a couple things and I'll try to be quick. If you are buying nuts as a healthy snack, kudos. However, my good, better, best thing, look at your labels, because most roasted salted nuts of any kind are roasted in seed oils, in vegetable oil, safflower oil, canola oil. Those are the most highly inflammatory oils. So if you're trying to be healthy with the nuts, and if they're roasted in a highly inflammatory oil, they're not even balancing each other out. They're just knocking each other out. So it actually saves money also. I buy raw nuts, Costco, Sam's Club, wherever, buy raw nuts, because you have total control. I make them, I'll roast them with avocado oil, sea salt, I'll throw garlic on them. All those varieties you can get, the everything cashews, the, rosemary cashews, almonds, the chocolate cocoa covered almonds. Well, that's what I'm making now. But you have total control. So you roast them in whatever you want, season them however you want. You're saving money, you're getting a little bit healthier, and I will let you know how those work. All about the gut. It always starts in the gut. Look for so many things. Doing deep dives into maternal health and what is happening to our children. And I'm talking about my children in their 30s and 20s and their children. So that you've heard the saying, if mom is not happy, nobody's happy. And I've said many times the last few weeks, if your gut's not happy, if your gut's not healthy, you're not healthy. So if your gut's miserable, it's going to make you miserable in so many different ways. Doing more research into how gut health is affecting our 30-year-olds, because they're the generation that has been hit with birth control pills at the onset of acne, any kind of imbalance for hormones. These 13, 14-year-old girls are being given birth control like it's candy. Then let's talk back how early these kids are being given antibiotics. So that generation is the perfect storm for horrific health and catastrophic illness as they grow up. They've been exposed to highly processed foods since the industrialization of our food system. That whole generation has been eating crap food, been taking pills like chiclets, and it's disgusting. I am on an absolute mission. And what I am discovering when I dig deeper and deeper and deeper in my research, these 30-some-year-old girls who are out of balance and in poor gut health, which throws your whole body off, they are giving birth, and their pregnancy is depleting them, making what they had going on pre-pregnancy much worse after delivery. And these babies are now being diagnosed with horrific intestinal diseases at 1 year old, 12, 13, 14, 15 months old. It's disgusting. I have written 2 or 3 articles this week just about this situation, because as I go through the research and I find more information, I have to shout it from the rooftops. My graphic designer can't keep up with the information I'm giving him. If you don't know, that would be Ken. my husband, he can't keep up with all the information I'm giving him. He puts it in a nice little PDF so it looks nice and pretty for you all to read, and he makes it a little more understandable than just my research and links to documents. So if you want any of them, they will be available in the next day or two. Yes, Ines, it's nuts. Hi, Kim. All right, ask me questions, join my Facebook group, DM me, have an amazing weekend. Look for pictures this weekend of me being very, very wet. But if I hit the ball well, I don't care what the weather looks like, but it's going to be an interesting weekend. Have a good one. I will post the recipes. Let me know how you like them.